So watch me transform this beauty from start to finish. If this is what you would like to see, keep on watching. So first thing first, I'm going to be cleaning her face with my Blossom micellar water. This would help to remove dirt and oil on the face. Then I went ahead to hydrate her skin with my Keys Beauty Fix Spray. So after hydrating the skin, I let it absorb into the skin. So I let it dry before I moisturized. So next is to moisturize her face. I'm going to be using my Cetaphil moisturizer to moisturize her face. So while doing your skin prep, make sure every product you apply dries up before you apply the next product. So after the moisturizer, I let it dry before I went ahead to apply this classic mattifying face primer. I'm gonna apply it all over the face, avoiding the areas underneath the eyes. So after that, I let it dry into the skin before I went ahead to lock in the skin prep with the same Kiss Beauty spray I used earlier. Then after that, I'm going to allow it to dry before I move on to foundation. For foundation, I'm going to be using my Slyvymak foundation. I'm going to be leaving the shade in my description box. So I'm using my flat brush to apply the foundation all over the face, like to spread it all over the face. After that, I use the sun spray to spray for easy blending. Then after this, I went ahead using my beauty sponge to blend the foundation into the skin. So this is like her perfect shade. I didn't mix any color, I just used one particular shade. Then after this, I'm going to be applying this cream blush. I'm just gonna mix these two shades from my Blossom lip palette and apply it above her contour and a little bit on the tip of her nose. Then I went ahead to blend with my beauty sponge. So today I'm not doing cream contouring, I'm going to be doing dry contouring. That was why I went ahead to apply the cream blush. So make sure you're gentle while blending and blend properly so that everything will be smooth and well blended. So after blending, next thing is to highlight the face. I'm going to be using my LA Girl Pro concealer in the shade Fawn. So whenever you want to highlight, don't pack too much concealer. A little goes a long way. If at the end of the day you need more highlight, you want the face to be more highlighted, you can add more concealer, but take it gently and blend. So after that, I used my beauty sponge to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So after blending the concealer, I use the other side of the beauty sponge I use in blending the brush to blend again to avoid harsh lines. So can you see how well blended everything looks? So next I'm going to be applying some concealer on the inner corner of her face because I really want the inner corner to be a bit highlighted, but you can also leave it like this because it's already looking good. Then I went ahead to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So after blending in the concealer, next is to set the concealer. I'm going to be using my merak setting powder in the shade Cinnamon to set. But before setting, I went back using the beauty sponge to blend the areas underneath her eyes to avoid creasing. So after blending, I'm going to be setting with the setting powder. So I'm just taking my beauty sponge to set. While setting, be light-handed, don't pack too much setting powder, and take it one step at a time. So after setting the concealer, next is to set the rest of her face. I'm going to be using my Royal Powder palette. So I'm just going to take the shade to set the rest of her face. So whenever you want to set the rest of your face, make sure you use the exact shade of your powder to set the rest of your face. So next I'm going to be using this shade from the same powder palette to blend out the excess powder underneath her eyes. After that, I'm going to be contouring her face. I'm just going to use this shade from the same powder palette to contour her face. Then I'm going to be using the same shade also to contour her nose. After which I used my powder brush to blend everything together. So I went back using that contour brush to blend again. So after blending, next is to set the face with the same spray. This would help to reduce the brightness on the face. Then I used my fan to dry it up immediately. So after drying, next I'm going to be baking with the same setting powder I used to set the face. So after baking, I used that same contour brush to blend again because I really want everything to be pronounced. Moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my spoolie brush to brush her brows first. Then I went ahead using my brow time to lay the hair nicely. So next is to draw her brows. I'm going to be using my carrot gel liner and my angled brush to draw her brows, following the shape of her brows. After drawing, I'm going to be highlighting with the same Avour concealer I used to highlight the face, to highlight the brows. Then I blended the concealer with a blending brush. So I'm going to be highlighting the other brows following the same method. So next I'm going to be highlighting the top of her brows with the same foundation I used to highlight her face, to highlight the top of her brows. I don't really like to do too much on the top of the brows, especially if I outline properly. So after that, I'm going to be setting the concealer with this light shade from the same powder palette. So moving on to the eyes, I'm going to be using my Tara eyeshadow primer to prime her lid. After that, I added a little setting powder on the areas underneath her eyes to avoid fallout from the eyes. For eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this shade. I'm just going to apply it on the outer corner of her lid, then blending it towards the inner corner of her lid. So next, I'm going to be using this shade from the same eyeshadow palette. I'm just going to apply it on the outer corner. After that, I'm going to be adding this dark shade from my Blossom eyeshadow palette, applying it only on the outer corner just to darken it. After that, I used a blending brush to blend to avoid demarcations. So next, I'm going to be applying this dark brown shade from the same palette. I'm just going to apply it on the inner corner of her lid, then blending it together. So after that, I'm going to be applying this light shade on her brow bone area. So next, I'm going to be applying setting powder on the outer corner of her lid to define the lid. So after that, I'm going to be using the same brush I used in applying the primer. I went back using that brush to blend the inner corner of her lid. Then I added a little primer again on the lid. So next, I'm going to be applying this silver eyeshadow from my 4-color eyeshadow palette on the inner corner of her lid. Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in it. Then after that, I used my blending brush to blend again. So after that, I added a little bit of this pigment, this silver pigment on the inner corner of her lid just to make it pop. After which I added this MK pigment. This is another color, just I wanted it to have a different color altogether. Then I went back to blend again. So next, I'm going to be lining our upper and lower lash line with my Karite gel liner. So next I'm going to be using my Zaron mascara to prep her natural lashes and also give it volume. After that, I used my powder brush to blend again. So moving on to blush, I'm going to be using my Tara blush palette. I'm just going to take the pink shade there and apply it on her cheeks. After that, I'm going to be wearing her these lashes from Mismetic Lashes. So next I'm going to be using this shade from the same powder palette to blend out the excess powder on her face. After that, I'm going to be setting the face with the same Kiss Beauty Fix Spray. After spraying, I let it dry into the skin. After which, I went ahead to do the lip of camera. For highlight, I'm going to be using my Maver's Glow Dust on the places I want the highlights to pop. So next I'm going to be spraying the face for the last time with my Kiss Beauty spray. So after that, I'm going to let her face dry properly before I used my beauty sponge to apply some Team Essential body glow on the face just to make it glow a little. And this is the final look, guys. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.